welcome to Delectable Flavors. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to make chocolate cake pops. Now for this recipe, you will need a batch of my ultimate chocolate cake recipe, and I've left a link in the description box on how you can make this beautiful chocolate cake. The first thing you need to do is crumble this cake using your fingers. I like to just roll it out as the crumble just come easily out. Now I'm going to finish crumbling this entire cake, and I'll be back when it's done. My cake is beautifully crumbled now, and you can see it's very fine. So what I'm going to do is add a tablespoon of chocolate icing. All I did was add some cocoa powder to my vegan American buttercream, and I've left a link in the description box on how you can make my vegan American buttercream. But I'm going to add it tablespoon by tablespoon because I do not want to add too much icing into my cake. So I'm just going to add it in and then mix it with my hands again. I have added 2.5 tablespoons of chocolate buttercream into my cake. And if you're wondering about those little clumps of cake, I just took them out as I did not want them to be in my cake pops. So I'm just going to set this aside. And now what I'm going to do is get an ice cream scoop and scoop out some cake pop sized balls, which is roughly about 1 ice cream scoop. If you have a mini ice cream scoop, that can also work. And if it's not ready, that means you need to add more icing. So I've just melted some white chocolate, and I'm going to dip a stick. You can use a bamboo skewer, or you can use cake pop sticks if you have them. And what I'm going to do is dip it in some white chocolate. You can use milk chocolate or any chocolate you like to use. I personally like the taste of white chocolate, so I'll be using white chocolate. And you're just going to dip it in about 3/4 quarters in, until you feel like it's holding, and then you're just going to leave it there to sit and keep going with the rest of your cake pops. I used about 1/4 of my batch of chocolate cake. That's why I don't have as many, but if you use an entire batch of chocolate cake, you will get loads of cake pops out of it. And if you're worried about if it's in the center or not, I'd recommend you just getting some sort of circular object like a skewer or a cake pop stick or a lollipop stick and just indenting little circles so you know where to poke. I like to use the wooden skewers, so that's what I'll be using. If you do follow my cake recipe, then these cake pops will be in fact eggless. So if you're looking for eggless cake pops, just make a batch of my eggless chocolate cake and then make these cake pops. And here's one I'll be doing with the cake pop stick. And I'm going to make one more. You want to do this step fast as you don't want the chocolate to melt. That's all looking pretty good. So once you're done this step, you're going to want to put it in the freezer to chill for about 15 to 20 minutes. My cake pops are almost done setting in the freezer, so what I'm going to do in the meantime is microwave some white chocolate chips, and I have some coconut oil flakes in here just so it ensures that the chocolate doesn't dry too quickly while I work around using it. So what I'm going to do is melt this. So I've just melted my chocolate, and it is fairly thin, and this thinness does come from the coconut oil, but make sure you do not add too much coconut oil. So what I have here is also some styrofoam, and I'm going to be using the styrofoam to dry my cake pops on. So what I'm going to do first is get my cake pop, dip it in, and then using a spoon, I'm going to be helping it out. And the next step is very important. You have to drizzle off any excess lightly. Do not tap it on the bowl, as the cake will fall off the stick. If you want, you could lightly tap it on your finger and then just curl it back up, and it should be done. Any excess chocolate will drip off the stick, and that's a-okay. So now I'm going to continue on with the rest of my sticks. So what I'm going to do is drizzle on some sprinkles. I'm just grabbing it from my hand. And there it is. Make sure you do this step before it completely solidifies, but not too early, as it will start to sink. So I've got different designs going on here, and for my last design, I'm going to top it off with a special gold sprinkle design. But first I have to put some melted chocolate on my cake pop. And near the end, you do have to work quickly because the chocolate solidifies. If it does, don't worry, you can just put it in the microwave. And now I'm going to put it on right over here. You need the pointed part of a skewer to poke a hole for you to put your cake pop in. And now I'm just going to let it solidify for like 10 seconds. And I'm going to clean up my workspace in the meantime before I add my glitter. I'll be using this glitter, and it is pretty solidified. It dries really quickly, so you do have to work fast. I'm just going to add gold to accent it on top. If you're making cake pops for a graduation party, I would recommend using gold glitter on the top of a cake pop. If you're using it for making these for a birthday, you could use rainbow sprinkles. If you're making this for a chocolate lover, you can just put chocolate sprinkles on top. My beautiful cake pops are now set, and they are ready to eat. If you did like this recipe, please give it a big thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel for a new recipe every Thursday. Till the next recipe, bye-bye!